Madam Chair, Excellencies, I am indeed most grateful to Madam Chair for inviting me to speak at the 17th session of the Commission on Sustainable Development. When I look back on over 55 years of my working life in government, United Nations, Aga Khan Foundation, and rural support programs, my greatest successes and satisfaction were when I succeeded in forging genuine and meaningful partnerships with communities. Over 50 years ago, my mentor, Dr. Hamid Khan, about whom Nobel laureate Professor Yunus wrote, "It is not enough to say that he was a great man. He was one of the great human beings of the past century. He was so much ahead of everybody else that he was seen more as a misfit than appreciated for his greatness. We have a lot to discover and a whole lot to learn from him." Dr. Hamid Khan taught me my first lessons in forging partnerships with communities. But it is only during the last 30 years that I got the opportunity, thanks initially to UNCRD and then to UNICEF and later to UNDP, but mainly to His Highness the Aga Khan, to fully and exclusively devote myself interacting with the communities in Pakistan, Bangladesh, India, Maldives, Nepal, and Sri Lanka. Over this period, I have personally held dialogues with over 5,000 communities, and this morning I intend to share this experience with you. I still vividly remember the bitterly cold December in 1982 when I drove 600 kilometers from Islamabad to Gilgit on a borrowed jeep. This was the beginning of the Aga Khan Rural Support Program, AKRSP, and forging of partnerships over the next 12 years with 1 million people in one of the most inhospitable and harshest terrain anywhere in the world. I brought them a simple message, but time-tested, from the days of Raiffeisen in Germany in 19th century Europe, followed by Japan, Taiwan, Comilla, and South Korea's Samolundong. This was a message of partnership and development. AKRSP was not there to listen to their demands, needs, and problems and offer solutions. AKRSP offered them only a methodology, an approach, a social guidance to overcome their handicaps themselves. The villagers used to look at me with disbelief. A program bearing the name of one of the richest person in the world, not willing to solve their problems and asking them to do things first. I explained, this is a partnership which entails obligations on both sides. And unless the community and the poor were prepared to fulfill their obligations, how can the partnership be formed? Many were impatient and would pester me to tell them what was the limit to which the program would help them if they accepted the terms of partnership. And my simple response used to be, your limit is our limit. Whatever the community can do or was willing to do was the program limit. I was very happy when the approach was reinforced by the first World Bank assessment of AKRSP in 1987, saying that the first 4 years of AKRSP are the missed 4 years of most rural development projects in the world, where blueprint took precedence over a process approach. AKRSP did not go to the communities with a preconceived package and left it to each community to identify their potential, not only as a community, but also at the household level. The 1 million people I worked with for 12 years in northern areas of Pakistan through the Aga Khan Rural Support Program reinforced my conviction of the tremendous potential and willingness in people to do many things themselves to come out of poverty. All that they needed was a support organization to help them unleash their potential. Once organized, the men and women took their destiny in their own hands. They knew what would bring them out of poverty. They planted 50 million trees on land brought an irrigation range, generated about 6 megawatts of electricity through village-built and managed mini hydels, acknowledged as the biggest concentration of community-managed micro-hydro projects anywhere in the world. In agriculture, horticulture, livestock, the organized communities made quantum jump in introducing and later marketing apple varieties from California and cherries from France. Their apricot is picked up by a London buyer from the farm gate at Gilgit. Their initiative in protecting wildlife in collaboration with IUCN, and I'm glad that DG IUCN is here, and WWF was given rich dividends, sharing 75% of the proceeds of trophy hunting with the government wildlife department. The tourists can now watch ibex, markhor, and if they're lucky, even sometimes snow leopard from the roadside. Last time on my visit to northern areas, I went to a village, Ahmedabad, where 22 years ago I had gone sitting in a basket pulled across the river as there was no bridge on the river. The village with 110 households was totally isolated, although the Karakoram highway passed by it. The village had no access, no road, no school, no health facility, no potable drinking water, and no electricity. Today, it has everything. These people would never have been touched, Madam Chair, by any growth strategy or macro planning. They needed a development strategy which involved each and every household in the development process. Unfortunately, this is what our macro planners failed to comprehend. When I asked these people what was the secret of their success, their response was, "We got organized." The village roads were earmarked with dustbins, and the environment was litter-free. According to the Second World Bank evaluation of AKRSP in 10 years, the income of the people of northern areas had in real terms more than doubled. In 1994, when UNDP asked me to take lessons learned in northern areas of Pakistan to South Asia, India being the largest country in the region, it was the greatest challenge to South Asia Poverty Alleviation Program, SAPAP. And to me personally, as a Pakistani, to make a difference to the lives of women and their households in India. My apprehensions were baseless. The people of Andhra Pradesh and the state government welcomed me with open arms and treated me with unforgettable kindness, hospitality, and affection, and continues to do so. In Andhra Pradesh, I was told that after 7 years, almost 75% of the organized households had risen above the level of subsistence. When I doubted this statement, the women insisted on taking me to their homes. I visited a number of houses which I had visited in my first visit in 1995, which had barely any amenities of life available. I was wonderstruck to find modern amenities like television, telephone, toilets, etc. in the houses. In one house, I did not see television, and I asked the lady if she had been left behind others. She asked me to visit her backyard where more than 35 goats were standing. She explained her children are young and unlike other children do not insist on going to the neighbors to see the television. Hence, she made her choice of preferring goats to the television. This reminded me of Nobel laureate Amartya Sen's book, Development as Freedom. One of the important outcomes of mobilized communities in Andhra has been the adoption of Community-Managed Sustainable Agriculture, CMSA. To date, adopted by over 300,000 farmers, it has enabled the poor to break out of the exploitative relations with moneylenders, fertilizer and pesticides traders. In the next 5 years, the Society for Elimination of Rural Poverty of Andhra plans to take it to 10 to 12 million acres, covering 50 to 60% of the cultivable area of the state. The environmental benefits of CMSA are enormous. It will convert the state into a green state with impact on climate change and global warming. However, the main motivation for the poor for adopting these practices is the quantum jump in their net incomes. The lesson is that however good the technology may be, without people's involvement through their strong grassroots institutions, it will remain in the laboratories and universities. We need a pupil-centered solution to food security and climate change. The Andhra government keeps on inviting me, and last July when I went, I found 10 million rural households comprising 45 million people who already had accessed more than $1 billion last year from the commercial banks. Andhra has been able to demonstrate an approach of poverty reduction encompassing over 45 million people, which has no parallel anywhere in South Asia. UNRWA has found the solution to rural poverty. Today, the Rural Support Programs network in Pakistan extend to 93 out of 125 districts of Pakistan, making a difference to the livelihood of nearly 13 to 15 million people. Pakistan is probably the only country in South Asia which has adopted social mobilization, as was recommended by the Poverty Commission in 1991. A new chapter of development seems to be opening up to take lessons learned to scale in Pakistan. The federal government is very keen to mainstream social mobilization. The President of Pakistan gave his approval to the approach for countrywide replication in next 3 to 5 years in December 2008. At the recent Friends of Pakistan donor meeting hosted by Japan, $3 billion were pledged exclusively for poverty reduction in the next 2 years. Madam Chair, if sustainable development leading to elimination of poverty has to be assured